So now let's go ahead and talk a little bit about resources in your application. We don't have any here by default except for the nib files. And these nib files technically count as resources because they're additional files, they're not source code files. But we can actually add another kind of resource file here. One way to do that is to go to this media library here, and then we could actually load an image here or a video or any kind of external resource that we would want to use here. I'm going to show you an example of a project that does have some resources. I'm going to go ahead and close this, and I'm going to open one of my applications, this pacemaker application. And in this application, I actually have some resources that I'm using here. So if we look at this resources folder, I've got all of mine set up in here. I've got some icons set up, and this convention here that's being used for the name is kind of important because it makes it so that you can have the splash icon and the regular icons and all these things automatically be recognized by your project. So if you notice here, I'm using this icon at 2x PNG, and by naming it this, it makes it so that on the Retina display, it's going to use this icon, and then by naming my regular icon, icon.png, on a non-Retina display, it's going to use this one. The same thing you can see with icon settings. This is going to be on the settings screen, what icon it uses, and then on the Retina. Then this default.png is actually the splash screen. And I didn't have to set up any of this stuff. I just had to use this naming convention, which is kind of nice, and just drag these images into here, and then it automatically pick this up. So you can also see that I've got some MP3 files here that I'm able to play in my application. Basically, they're the two methods for adding the resources. The one is to go over, and you can add it in here in the media library, and you can see it's populated here. And then the other way is to just add a file here just by going through this normal file adding interface, and you can choose a resource here. And if we take a look real quick at the project settings again, if we look at the target, now we can actually see at the summary that it's picked up my app icons, it's picked up my launch images just by having the names here. And you can actually do a selection from here if you do select file, and you could pick an image file, and then it would automatically convert the name over to be the name it needs to be in order to be picked up automatically and then displayed in here. This is kind of important to know when you're ready to sell your app. You're going to need to make sure you have app icons and launch images.